Understanding Organizational Structure. What is organizational structure? Organizational structure refers to the way that roles are coordinated, controlled and communicated within an organization. The structure is often represented in a diagram called an organization chart. An organization's structure should be designed to deliver goals and objectives of the organization as well as use its resources in the best possible way. An organizational structure is a visual diagram of an organization that describes what employees do, whom they report to, and how decisions are made across the organization. Importance of organizational structure. Organizational structures help to define the key elements of how an organization is controlled and managed. An organizational structure can be helpful for new employees to learn who manages and what processes exist in the organization. With organizational structure, you can visualize how the work flows in the diagrams. To put it simply, the chart explains how an organization works and how its roles are organized. Category of organizational structure. Organizational structure can be categorized as mechanistic or organic. The mechanistic structure represents the traditional, top-down approach to organizational structure, whereas the organic structure represents a more collaborative, flexible approach. Mechanistic structure. Mechanistic structures, also called bureaucratic structures, are known for having narrow spans of control, as well as high specialization and formalization. They are also quite rigid on what specific departments are designed and permitted to do for the company. This organizational structure is much more formal than organic structure, using specific standards and practices to govern every decision the business makes. As daunting and inflexible as mechanistic structure sounds, the chain of command, whether long or short, is always clear under this model. Organic structure. Organic structures, also known as flat structures, are known for their wide spans of control, decentralization, low specialization, and loose departmentalization. This structure might have multiple teams answering to one person and taking on projects based on their importance, and what the team is capable of rather than what the team is designed to do. As you can probably tell, this organizational structure is much less formal than mechanistic, and takes a bit of an ad hoc approach to business needs. With this nature of structure, leaders might give certain projects the green light more quickly, but it causes confusion in a project's division of labor. Types of organizational structure. 1. Functional organizational structure. 2. Product-based divisional structure. 3. Geographical divisional structure. 4. Process-based structure. 5. Matrix structure. 6. Flat structure. Functional organizational structure. The functional structure departmentalizes an organization based on common job functions. An organization with a functional organizational structure, for instance, would group all of the marketers together in one department, group all of the salespeople together in a separate department, and group all of the customer service people together in another department. Disadvantages. Functional structure has the potential to create barriers between different functions, and it can be inefficient if the organization has a variety of different products or target markets. The barriers created between departments can also limit people's knowledge of and communication with other departments, especially those that depend on other departments to succeed. Product-based divisional structure. A divisional organizational structure comprises of multiple, smaller functional structures, i.e. each division within a divisional structure can have its own marketing team, its own sales team, and so on. In a product-based divisional structure, each division within the organization is dedicated to a particular product line. This type of structure is ideal for organizations with multiple products and can help shorten product development cycles. This allows small businesses to go to market with new offerings fast. Disadvantages. It can be difficult to scale under a product-based divisional structure, and the organization could end up with duplicate resources as different divisions strive to develop new offerings. Geographical divisional structure. The geographical organizational structure establishes its divisions based on geographical locations. More specifically, the divisions of a geographical structure can include territories, regions, or districts. This type of structure is best suited to organizations that need to be near sources of supply and/or customers, e.g. for deliveries or for on-site support. It also brings together many forms of business expertise, allowing each geographical division to make decisions from more diverse points of view. Disadvantages. The main downside of a geographical organizational structure is that it can be easy for decision-making to become decentralized, as geographic divisions, which can be hundreds, if not thousands of miles away from corporate headquarters, often have a great deal of autonomy. And when you have more than one marketing department, one for each region, you run the risk of creating campaigns that compete with, and weaken, other divisions across your digital channels. Process-based structure. Process-based organizational structures are designed around the end-to-end flow of different processes, such as research and development, customer acquisition, and order fulfillment. Unlike a strictly functional structure, a process-based structure considers not only the activities employees perform, but also how those different activities interact with one another. Process-based organizational structure is ideal for improving the speed and efficiency of a business, and is best suited for those in rapidly changing industries, as it is easily adaptable. Disadvantages. Similar to a few other structures on this list, process-based structure can erect barriers between the different process groups. This leads to problems in communicating and handing off work to other teams and employees. Matrix structure. Unlike the other structures we have looked at so far, a matrix organizational structure doesn't follow the traditional, hierarchical model. Instead, all employees represented by the green boxes have dual reporting relationships. Typically, there is a functional reporting line as well as a project-based reporting line. The main appeal of the matrix structure is that it can provide both flexibility and more balanced decision-making, as there are two chains of command instead of just one. Having a single project overseen by more than one business line also creates opportunities for these business lines to share resources and communicate more openly with each other, things they might not otherwise be able to do regularly. Disadvantages. The primary pitfall of the matrix organizational structure is complexity. The more layers of approval employees have to go through, the more confused they can be about who they are supposed to answer to. This confusion can ultimately cause frustration over who has authority over which decisions and products and who is responsible for those decisions when things go wrong. Flat structure. While a more traditional organizational structure might look more like a pyramid with multiple tiers of supervisors, managers and directors between staff and leadership, the flat structure limits the levels of management. So, all staff are only a few steps away from leadership. This structure is probably one of the most detailed. It is also thought that employees can be more productive in an environment where there is less hierarchy-related pressures. This structure might also make staff feel like the managers, as the managers they have are more like equals or team members rather than intimidating superiors. Disadvantages. If there's a time when teams in a flat organization disagree on something, such as a project, it can be hard to get aligned and back on track without executive decisions from a leader or manager. Because of how complicated the structure's design is, it can be tricky to determine which manager an employee should go to if they need approval or an executive decision for something. So, if you do choose to have a flat organization, you should have a clearly marked tier of management or path that employees can refer to when they run into these scenarios. For further support, at Talent and Skills HuB, you can be supported by our instructors, academic skills advisors and mentors for organizational structure. You can book an appointment for one-to-one or group tutoring through our website, ts-hub.com.